Hi, everybody. I just got back from the regional championships in Dallas, Texas. And there's been some people asking, especially some people I met in Texas, asking me to kind of do a recap about my regional championship experience. And so here that is. I'm going to give you the whole story of my trip, any major or funny things that happened, how the tournament went for me, and here we go. First off, I wanted to go over my deck. I played Mono White Humans. Mono White Humans was honestly the product of me not having a ton of time to test. I put a lot of time into testing, and then a giant wrench got thrown into my testing with the Boros Convoke deck becoming really popular online. And so, at a really pivotal part of me trying to make a choice in deck, I spent 3 days jamming Boros Convoke and just 2-3ing everything and not understanding if I was getting unlucky or if the deck was, just awful. By the time I got off Boros Convoke, it was only 3 or 4 days before I was going to leave, which means it was likely too late for me to find cards, or at least likely too late for me to put a ton of time into decks that I might not have the cards available for, because it would then be 2 or 3 days for me to solidify my lists. The two archetypes that I had really solid lists that I was proud of were Red Black Midrange and Mono White Humans. Those are the ones that I had grinded before, and those are the decks I felt really solid about. My big concern about Red Black Midrange is everybody was prepped for it, and in the week or two leading into the RC, I was doing pretty medium with it. A lot of 3-2s. The deck only felt fine. In the human side, my concern was that if people are as worried about Convoke as I am, or if they're on Magic Twitter at all, they're going to be playing some extra temporary lockdown, some extra board wipes, or things like that. So those were some concerns for me. However, I found that I really liked the Humans matchup against Convoke. Humans fail rate is much, much lower, and the Boros fail rate is pretty high. Humans, the reason you play Humans as an aggro deck is that it's very consistent, it's really good at what it does. And so you could really capitalize on Boros Convoke's fail rate. Also, Humans goes really tall, so you can get them to start chump blocking really, really early. And that's sort of how I found how the matchup goes. If Boros Convoke nuts out, they win. If they don't, I'm able to apply enough pressure so that they have to start chump blocking and then the game's just over. Or Boros Convoke enters their fail rate and Humans wins. Because of that good matchup, and me grinding with Humans already, and people not really being prepared for Humans compared to Red Black Midrange, I decided on the Humans deck. And I wanted to hedge against Red Black Midrange, which I assume everybody else did. So I shaved Rest in Pieces and added Gideon Ally of Zendikar, which was an MVP of the weekend, by the way. Gideon Ally of Zendikar is pretty good against pretty much all of the slower decks. And I was a really big fan of that choice, though Greasefang did kill me in my win into day 2, but I went 1-1 against Greasefang, so I don't know. The reason I cut Rest in Peace is because it's for one matchup. It's okay against Lotus, but against Lotus I would rather just be applying pressure anyway rather than just Rest in Peacing them. And against Greasefang, I just had way too many scenarios of me casting a 2-1, my turn 2 casting Rest in Peace, and then just going Witherbloom command, kill your 2-1, kill Rest in Peace, kill you. And that was really awful. And so I decided I just wanted to apply pressure to Greasefang and move on with my life. But I went down with 3 of my good Magic friends, David, Zach, and Casey. Zach and I rode down and stayed at Casey's house where we jammed games. Zach was playing this really, really cool green-black mid-range deck that me and my friends probably gave him a little bit too much crap over. But it was playing cards like Elvish Mystic and Ren and Realmbreaker and Glissa and stuff like that. I won very few games jamming against him at Casey's house. That was kind of lame. But we went to bed late because we're idiots, and then woke up at 3 in the morning for a 6:30 plane ride where we met David at the airport. The first flight, I'm hanging out. I'm really tired, so I take a 20-minute nap. It's a quick jump from Portland, Maine to New York, and I look at my water bottle. I'm like, man, I'm pretty thirsty. And I grab my water bottle, and it's a metal one that seals. I picked it up, and I opened it up, and water shot out of it this far into my face, onto my lap, and I'm sitting next to Zach, and it shoots out at me, and I'm dripping, and I look over. What just happened? The pressure in the airplane, it makes sense thinking back. At the time, awful. So I'm soaking wet for the rest of the flight because there was so much water got over me. I was dry by the time the plane landed. The second plane ride went a lot better. It was a 3-wide. Zach and I were on the outside seats, and there was nobody in the middle, so we got to stretch out, which was awesome. I slept like 2 hours, so I got to time travel, which was dope. Then got the airport. Our hotel was nice, but we almost immediately go to the venue because we need to pick up our passes, your Dreamhack passes, and all of that stuff. One really awful part of that is that we hadn't eaten since 5:30, so I was just like super hungry waiting in the Dreamhack line for like an hour. The Dreamhack line was like 3 separate rooms, and each one of the rooms was just like a special layer of purgatory where we'd wait like 30 minutes. I'd be playing like RuneScape on my phone, which I would just have an earful of criticism from Casey. Sophie just said, as you should, from the other room, by the way. And then once we got our badges, we got to explore Dreamhack. One of the kind of cool things I was able to do is, Dreamhack, for people that have never been there, is basically a bunch of competitive tournaments. And you just like go and watch, and it's like super awesome. I find Rocket League, I don't play a ton of Rocket League, but I'm pretty good friends from the before times with one of the Rocket League commentators, Sean Stackhouse. I think they call him Stacks. He used to be a Magic judge that I used to like travel to Grand Prix with for him to judge and me to play. He's an awesome guy. And I just like saw the Rocket League tournament and went over and just like spotted him immediately. And so we chatted for a while, and like a bunch of people came up to him and told him how awesome he was and like all that stuff while I was going on, which is just like kind of surreal because I knew him from when he was just like a Magic judge. But it was really, really cool. It was really awesome, being able to catch up with him again. When we were ready to go, we ate at an awesome Texas barbecue place, which was sorely needed, though very expensive. And we went back to the hotel room and went to bed. We woke up, we went to the venue, and, not a lot happened before the tournament started. Round 1, I lost to Mono Green, where game 1, they attacked a Prelucranos into a 5-power Thalia, where I just went block, and then the Prelucranos died, and I still lost that game, because that's how hot my opponent was running. And then, like, in game 2, they attacked with their team, leaving a token back to block. I was able to block in a fashion where if I can remove the token or get by it, then I win the game. And it was a 14-outer, 4 Ossification, 4 Brutal Cathar, 4 Portable Hull, and 2 Brave the Elements, and I couldn't hit, and I lost. So, started 0-1. Round 2, I played the Pseudo Mirror, beating White Black Humans. Not a lot to say there, other than I think I'm better in the mirror. Round 3, I played against Yorion Jeskai Control, which is essentially the Yorion Blue-White Control deck, splashing for Fire Impulse and Fable the Mirror Breaker, which is kind of sweet. And in Game 3, I was doing really good after 2 temporary lockdown, but I couldn't beat the Rebuy Yorion and cast Yorion and flash temporary lockdown. So I started the tournament 1-2, but then began the rally back. In Round 4, I beat Red-White Convoke. Unfortunately, in Game 2, I actually punted. He moving very quickly, attacked for lethal, thinking he was dead, and like partially extended his hand, expecting me to be dead, not seeing my Hopeful Initiate activation to kill his Ornithopter, and I go to 1 because it was an Ornithopter with a token on it. And so I do that in like the back of my brain, almost matching my opponent's rush. I take counters off in a way that I no longer have lethal through his single blocker. Like, I continued to go tall with one creature and just took it off entirely another one, where if I took counters off of them, like, equally, I would have had lethal through them. So I punted away game 2, and then after the punt, I mulled a 5. And so I'm just, like, tilting, but they kept a 7-card 1-lander and never hit, and I won. So 2-2. In round 5, I played against Mono Green. In game 1, I used a Brave the Elements to put him to 2, hopefully squeak through some damage. But the game ended up going a lot longer, and I flipped Brutal Cathar back and forth 3 times. I had 2 Brutal Cathars, so there are 3 things under 2 separate Brutal Cathars. And then they were able to attack in a way that I was forced to chump block with the Brutal Cathars. And they get a bunch of stuff back. I am wildly dead on board. And I peel my second and last Brave the Elements off the top and kill them. It felt amazing. Game 2, I kept a reasonably aggressive hand behind 4 pieces of interaction between Portable Hold, Destroy Evil, etc., and killed them very, very quickly. They didn't really even get to play the game. Round 6, I just aggroed out Greasefang. They didn't combo kill me, and I didn't need Rest in Peace. I just killed them very quickly. Round 7, I played against Red-Black. In game, the only notable thing there is in game 2, I resolved 3 Wedding Announcement and still lost because they had like a bunch of tokens from getting in with goblins, and flipped 2 fables, and they had like 8 mana and just like made 8 guys and were able to like jam in and kill me, even though I had like 6 3/3s. Round 8, played against Mono Green. Not much to say there other than just like I completely nutted out both games and my opponent didn't really get to play Magic, which I guess is the point of playing aggro, right? And round 9, I lost a super tight one to Greasefang, where they were able to peel a Greasefang cold off the top of their library in game 3 to kill me. So I got the 5-4 so I had to play max rounds for max pain and not make day 2. What kind of put the cherry on top for that is one of my favorite bands, Wage War, was playing Dreamhack. And so the last round started at like 9:20 or something like that, and Wage War goes on 9:30. And it was like the games against Reesfang were like really good besides, that last top deck. And I'm able to like finish at like 9:55, and I just like hustle down to the Dreamhack Hall, and I exclusively catch Wage War's encore song, which was really lame. I was really sad about that. But one kind of cherry on top throughout the day is I met 5 of you. YouTube viewers. So if you're watching and you approach me at Dreamhack, thank you. Like I don't know if I was able to express my gratitude, but like making content is really hard. And when people, like real people, come up to you and thank you for making content or just want to meet you or anything like that, that really makes it feel worth it and like has totally reignited my drive. Of the 5 people that approached me at Dreamhack and wanted to talk about my content, one of them had me sign their playmat, which was crazy. I'm a super small YouTuber, but that was really cool. They said that like I helped them win the RCQ that got them there, which is just like so nuts. And another person just like kept checking in on me, asking how I was doing, got like fist bumps, stuff like that. And I just chatted with them for a really, really long time. But, thank you to everybody that had come out. I can't remember anybody's names. I feel so bad, but it was really cool. Like that was one of the coolest experiences I've ever had. And if you see me at a future Magic tournament, like please approach me. It fills my heart with joy that people actually watch these videos. But I was really sad when I left the venue, both because of the Wage War thing and like didn't make day 2. Kind of the wheels fell off. And I went back to the hotel room. We ordered Chinese food. I ate the Chinese food, and then I looked at the 10K, and it was capped. So that was lame. So I didn't get to play in the 10K RCQ the next day. But we went to the venue because David was able to sign up, and another person that stayed in our hotel room, Derek, made day 2, was actually X2 going into day 2, which was awesome. We got there, and I decided like I was just going to enjoy Dreamhack, watch some gaming tournaments. At 1 o'clock, there was like a team sealed for an entire box. You open up a whole box and then make 3 sealed decks out of it. And it's like, it seemed really cool. And like, we're planning on playing that. And so I'm just like vibing at Dreamhack, like trying to catch some free stuff and like, buying some things and whatever. And then all 3 of the people I traveled with immediately message me and tell me that they're opening up a 5K. There was an announcement. Enough people were upset the 10K was capped. And they decided to do a 5K RCQ, a 5K 8 slaughter. Dope. Hustled back, deck regged. We're doing the thing. We're running back humans. Not a lot happened in that tournament. Nothing super spicy. In round 3, when I was at 2-1, I resolved the backside of Redain against Red Black Sack, which is like the only way I beat Red Black Sack. And then they just like never hit Mayhem Devil, so it was just like pretty dead, and they just like killed me with like cat oven triggers, which was really frustrating. But at 3-2, I played against Casey. We both think we're like a little live for top 8, but not really. Like it's definitely just like a win and hope situation, and just like super unlikely. And dude, so we went to 3 games. In the game he beat me, it was not close, but in the 2 games I won, I just like dumpstered him. And so I beat him, and we sit there and do math on our phones for a second to figure out if like we still have a shot and whatever. We've already submitted results at this point, and we're just like, you know what? Like, it's a pretty low chance I make top 8 even if I win next round, like a wildly low chance, like sub 1%. So I just dropped and got tacos after beating my friend in RCQ. So we just went, got tacos. Derek, who was also in a hotel room, qualified for the Pro Tour, which is super dope. We hung out that night, went to bed. Plane rides home were kind of lame because I was middle seat in both of the planes home. Oh my god, oh no. On that last night, I wanted to eat the leftover Chinese food from the previous night, and there was no microwave in our room. So the desk set up a microwave, so there's just a floor microwave in the hotel room. I was just sitting on the floor heating up my Chinese food in. Oh, you can't take me into public. It's so bad. And I got home, my wife picked me up. One of the kind of interesting parts of that trip is that for a whole month, my baby had been in the NICU, and which is neonatal intensive care, who was born a month prior. And so I get a message from my wife on Saturday that he's coming home, and I'm in Texas. And while I was extremely happy he was coming home, I was also wildly tilted I was in Texas when he was coming home. So when my wife picked me up at the airport, I got to see my baby for the first time without a feeding tube attached to him. And that was really cool. But I had a good trip. I'm back to grinding. Maybe next time. If you like this video, please be sure to like and subscribe. Check me out on social medias. Links are above me and in the description, especially on Twitch, where I stream most nights. And as always, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.